Men's Minute, Modcast with his mates, Perry, Satya, and Mo. Episode 206.
So I was chatting to my mate last night, who told me about his addiction to drinking brake fluid. He said it wasn't an issue though, as he could stop whenever he wanted.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Men's Minute Modcast with his mates. And today we have Satya, Mo, and Perry is back. Hey, Perry.
Yay,
And
I'm
Mo
back.
and Satya.
I found my way back.
Now, we have a few topics to discuss today, and the first one I wanted to talk about is how our lives and our children's lives have changed in terms of what AI has done, in terms of sometimes even being the first adults in the room, and how I've seen my nieces and nephews sort of, adopt AI for everything that they want to know in terms of knowledge, but also sort of as a substitute parent sometimes in just figuring things out. So Perry, why don't you take us away with what you've been seeing over the summer with AI and kids?
And with my own kids and the stories that I hear, I think it's fascinating that we as humans like to take the easy route. It's when you chat with an AI as a teenager and you share your problems there, it's not judging you. It's not saying, you stupid wanker, you shouldn't be doing that, or whatever. It's saying, yeah, I understand what you're going through. And it's so nice. And it gives you advice, maybe not the best advice, but sometimes just the advice you need, or very linear advice. Like what you're describing right now seems to be very serious, but, looking closely to it, you don't have to worry. This is normal when you're a teenager or whatever. And that's just what you want to hear. And you don't want to hear your dad or your mom saying that to you, like you're just a teenager. You want someone else to say that. So I kind of understand why kids are using AI. Maybe people are saying that they become their best friend. I don't know if it's their best friend channel to go to and brainstorm with your own thoughts. And I think AI is almost like what we're all doing, having conversations with ourselves. You just invite AI into the conversation with yourself and see if something sparkles or happens or when you can learn something from it. So I get it, and maybe there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe there is. I don't know. What do you all think? I don't know if there's something wrong with it.
You find that they use it as a chatbot, or are they talking to it?
I don't know. I think as a chatbot, I think, it's the same as all these apps that they're using and they're talking with their real friends. And so they're chatting and it's short conversation, quick words. And I think they do the same thing with AI. Like, look at this. What do you think? And also with their friends. So it's boring what I'm saying, but I think it's interesting that there's a computer that is in a binary thinking that is just saying, I'm listening to you. This is what I see. And it's not reading a book, right? It's not reading poetry. It's not looking at art. It's not having a cool conversation with your uncle who's a bit of a weirdo and is saying weird things to you or whatnot. It's so organized. It's so polished. It's so black and white. And it's so boring in that perspective for me.
I think I have come across teens who are using ChatGPT more as a consolation for the problems they are going through, and more because, as Perry said, right, like parents can be a lot more occupied in their own work and may not have as much insights into what their children really want sometimes. And as an aunt, also, I would not know what they want. So I think they have ChatGPT as a way to discuss problems sometimes which are uncomfortable, also to talk to the parents, which is something that you'll get some answers about it. But I think also where to draw a line is where the family together should decide that, hey, you can talk to ChatGPT, but there are certain things that you can talk to us as well. And there are certain things you should never talk to the ChatGPT. There has to be some boundaries set, but within the family that you decide what to discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of these applications we use, they have entry ages, right? And for OpenAI, you need to be 13 to be using it. And if we look at all these different softwares and everything we sign up for, we have people under age that they agree and go and sign up to them, right? But I believe that, like, for AI, maybe we should push it towards you need to be 16 or 18 or something like that to start using it, because your brain is developed enough to know that AI is not like concrete advice all the time, and it doesn't actually have full context on your emotional state, how you were before. So if it doesn't have that information and it's giving you advice, that's just garbage advice in my view, or it's advice based on its own data, right? But where you train the AI, potentially the model or anything like that, on yourself, on your background, personality, all these things which might happen in the future, then maybe, okay, the advice is a little bit more accurate and better. It understands your medical history and all these other things. But I'm scared of this, to be honest, and I don't fully agree that it's a good thing. But for adults, I think we're mature enough to majority of times understand it if we are in a normal state of thinking. Right.
Yeah. And maybe this will teach us as parents to become more curious about our kids and more curious about life and less judgmental and less occupied with your own ego and success and career. And because I was thinking it's easier to chat with AI than to your own parent. Well, we can learn something from that, right?
Yeah.
How cool would it be if in your family you would be able to talk to your parent about everything? It doesn't matter. There's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no judgment. And that would be a very cool side effect from AI, that we open up that space of curiosity and we become less judgeful. But we need to be curious for that, and that's a bit difficult, I think,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Satya, please go ahead.
and biologically speaking, when a human tends to reach their teenage, they want to separate from their parents because they want to
Sure.
create their own nest. They want to create their own families, biologically, evolutionarily speaking. So I think that having an external validation is much more important than what your parents think, because even if they support you, you still would rebel against them because it's in your innate nature that you want to just
That's true.
separate out.
Yeah,
So I
I agree.
think instead of having, like in big old villages, you had other people who would be a solace to your children, which is no longer there. I mean, of course, there's a trust factor as well about trusting your uncle and aunts, but at the same time, how do you create that space artificially also for the children is very important, I feel. Yeah.